Happy Monday, all you Minties. This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an advanced look at the X-Men Avengers Onslaught from Marvel Comics. So please, stay tuned. Before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and the book market on March 1st. Now, that is the latest date that I have, but that could very well change with everything going on in distribution. What we're looking at here is the direct market cover. To your left-hand side is the standard edition cover. So the standard edition cover, that was the one from the first printing when it only had one cover, and now we're going to get a direct market cover, this one here on the right, which is actually the cover to the Road to Onslaught one-shot. So let's take a look at this book a little closer. Here we have an image of Onslaught ripping out the Cyttorak gem from our boy there, the Juggernaut. So that's how big and powerful and badass this particular character was. And here is the back. I've always loved this image. You have the Sentinels, all the big key players in this event. The book retails for $125. When Onslaught rises, will Earth's mightiest heroes sacrifice themselves to save the world? Spoilers, they're heroes. Of course they do. Let's look at it under the dust jacket. And under the dust jacket, you have this image from Ian Churchill that shows this big fight with all these Marvel heroes up against this oncoming force known as Onslaught. So let's open the book up, talk about the artwork, and a little bit about the story and what happens throughout these pages. And of course the aftermath, without going into spoilers, which is going to be a little tricky. So let's get this big book opened. Here are your end sheets and the X-Men Avengers Onslaught. So here are all the credits, all the writers, pencilers, inkers, colorists, letterers, editors, and assistant editors at the time. The front cover art, Ian Churchill, Scott Hanna. The back cover art, John K. Snyder III. And then previously on Uncanny X-Men 287. So that's where all of this takes place. This is where it all started. This idea of a traitor in the X-Men. So this was an original idea from Jim Lee and Whilce Portacio that they wanted to throw a traitor to the team, right? And there were fingers pointed, especially by Bishop. So Bishop sees Jean Grey's last call in the future, and he realizes, oh my God, the X-Men were betrayed by one of their own, and I just saw the death of Jean Grey. So of course, when he travels back in time, one of his first goals is to try to figure out who the X-Traitor is. And that's what Onslaught really is this big crossover between really X-Men and Avengers, but the entire Marvel Universe, to try to destroy this creature known as Onslaught. Now, whether the X-Men are betrayed by one of their own or not, you can find out for yourself. So this kicks off with Cable 32, so this collects Cable 32 all the way to 36. Uncanny X-Men 333 to 337. X-Force 55, 57 through 58. X-Man 15 through 19, still hanging around here in the 616 universe from the Age of Apocalypse universe. X-Men, adjectiveless X-Men 53 to 57. Annual 96, X-Men Unlimited 11. Onslaught, X-Men, that's the one shot that kicks it all off. Onslaught Marvel Universe, that's kind of like the Omega. That's where everything wraps up. We got to meet Post in the Road to Onslaught. Even though that's not collected in omnibus format, it's been collected in a series of trades, 3 thick trades. Hopefully one day we'll get an omnibus of that. So this became a huge event. We get in here also the Onslaught Epilogue, the Avengers 401 to 402, Fantastic Four 415, Incredible Hulk 444 to 445, Wolverine 104 and 105, X-Factor 125 and 126, Amazing Spider-Man 415, Green Goblin, this is during the hero era of Green Goblin, number 12, Spider-Man 72, Iron Man number 332, Punisher 11, I'm going to start skipping through here a little bit, Thor number 502, X-Men Road to Onslaught, and then you get material from Excalibur 100 and Fantastic Four number 416. I love this era of X-Force with Adam Polina's artwork. This is when Jeff Loeb took over the book, even though I did miss Fabian Nicieza. So this is the latest printing. And it's a huge book. We're looking at 1,296 pages. And again, retailing for $125. You have some Steve Skroce artwork in here. You have Joe Mad, Andy Kubert, and Steve Epting. There's also Jimmy Chung does some artwork in here for, I believe at the time it was Iron Man. So just think of this as like the biggest Marvel event for the time. That this is not just the Avengers and the X-Men teaming up against this horrible oncoming force. I always love this, where he rips out the Cyttorak from the Juggernaut, one of the strongest characters in the X-Men universe. But you also have Spider-Man. You have all these characters team up, the Hulk, trying to stop this creature. Nobody can stop them. So it's a huge team up of just pretty much the entire Marvel universe at the time. Everybody gets involved. And it's important to note, too, that this is also the time when Wolverine was in his rather ogre stage. But it's feral because, well, something happened in the issue 100 of Wolverine. John Romita Jr. supplying some of the artwork here for Spidey. Now, this is really cool. This is the prismatic etched variant cover. This was a very hard cover to get, even when we were getting books back then. So let's keep going through here. Here is where the revelation happens, if there really is a traitor. And then, of course, we have this character known as Onslaught appear. And he has interest in the Fantastic Four's son, the Franklin Richards, of course. And he just has interest in mutants in general. So, Jeff Matsuda, I forgot. Now, Jeff Matsuda went on to do television. He went to do character designs for The Batman. I don't know if anybody ever watched that series or not. Some good art in here. Mark Bagley, of course, doing Spider-Man. But what I was saying is, what this really served, and I don't know if it was always intended to be this way. So after this event, a lot of the Marvel heroes end up being kind of leased out to image creators. Jim Lee, Brandon Choi, they got to work with the Fantastic Four. Rob Liefeld, of course, famously got Captain America and the Avengers. And then Iron Man was done by Brandon Choi and Will Spertasio. Eventually, Jeff Loeb joined. And it's just, like I said, I don't know if that was the plan from the beginning, but they used it to create that particular world that is known as the Heroes Reborn era. So you've seen me do an overview of the Heroes Reborn Omnibus and the Heroes Return Omnibus. This is what sets up both of those. So it's almost like a trilogy, kicking it off with this, even though this is almost like a bookend to a lot of these titles, like it's the final issue of Volume 1 of the Fantastic Four, or Iron Man, or even the Avengers. And I was mistaken, it is not Jimmy Chung that drew this, but I think it's Joe Bennett. Yeah, Joe Bennett that drew that particular issue. Tom Lyle, the late Tom Lyle, drawing the Punisher here. And then Carlos Pacheco's artwork. I always love that little cameo of Goku, even though it's like a Calvin and Hobbes type of creature. Some kick-ass artwork in this. Regardless of how you feel about the story, you can't deny the fact that the art really drove a lot of this particular storyline. But this is the type of artwork to expect in here. Adam Kubert drawing the Omega issue, or the Marvel Universe Onslaught. This is where the heroes decide to make a call, and what do they do against Onslaught? I've always loved this particular picture right here. So there is a way they can defeat this creature. Behold my mighty hand. Is that what he said? Behold my mighty hand, or something like that. But there's always sacrifices that have to be made. Now, in here you also get the annuals, and you get the epilogue, and this all leads into another crossover with this gentleman right here, and that will be known as Operation Zero Tolerance. So there's also this back here. This, of course, being the Road to Onslaught. This kind of gives you a little idea of how all this came to be. Like, it wasn't just a retcon. It had been planned from the beginning, and they did their homework, I will say that. Now, this story, for me, was kind of like my goodbye to just comics in general. I was graduating high school, and it was just, my interests went elsewhere. I went to college, women, cars, whatever it wasn't comics. And comics left my life for what seemed like a decade or so, but it wasn't really that long. I came back during New X-Men. But it was just weird, having to say goodbye to these characters that I've known since I was like 5 years old. Of course, a lot of them are new and don't even look the same. All these extras back here, house ads. I've always loved that. I thought that she actually got that on her forehead when I was reading it. Big fan of this particular image right here. It's a picture on the back, and this is the one by John K. Snyder. John K. Snyder. Here's the Ian Churchill poster that eventually became, of course, the variant or the standard edition cover, Onslaught sketch. But yeah, these are all the trades. I said goodbye to comics for a while because of this. Now, this could be the actual book that broke the camel's back, as they say, or it really just could have been anything at the time. I think I had just outgrown comics in a weird way, but now I'm back. I'm never leaving again. I found a home. It's interesting that this was voted in our top 20, and here I am holding it in my hand, and here in a couple of weeks, if you pre-ordered it, or if you're going to order it, you will too. Now, let's take a look at this binding. So here is that eye, and let's make sure this is what the spread pages look like, towards the middle, of course. Towards the front right here, it's actually really good. And let's just go back to this image right here, towards the end. And this book is printed at the Donley printer. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book when it comes out, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your confirmation email from CGN, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you're picking it up, if you missed it the first time around, if you already have the omnibus. If you are picking it up, let me know which cover you're going to get, and what you thought of the story, in case you've read the story. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Check us out on Patreon and Spreadshop. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. And thank you to our existing patrons. And more importantly, all of you, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.